Fall River City Council public hearing will now be called to order. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Council Skadim.
Here.
Kamara.
Here.
Canuel.
Here.
Dion.
Here.
Hart.
Here.
Peckham.
Here.
Pereira. Reposo.
Here.
President Ponti.
Here, pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make a audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made whether perceived or unperceived by those present and are deemed acknowledged and permissible.
Motion to open the public hearing.
Motion to open the public hearing has been made by Councilor Reposo, seconded by Councilor Peckham. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. First item on our public hearing is by the Massachusetts Electric Company doing business as National Grid for one new pole location as follows on Miller Street. The petition is proposing to install one new solely owned pole 30-20 between existing pole 3 located on Whitman Street and existing pole 3-30 located on Miller Street. Proposed pole 320 will be located approximately 70 feet southeast of pole 3 and will be up against curbing in the sidewalk in accordance with the plan number 312222619. Calling all proponents wishing to speak on this item. Calling all proponents. Welcome to state your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, City Council President, City Council members. My name is Aaron Roy, representing National Grid this evening. This first project is a customer project for Maple Gardens. They're upgrading their service in 3 locations. This location, they're installing a new pad-mounted transformer to service a handful of buildings in this area. This new pole 3-20, will be that rising pole to feed that pad-mounted transformer. Sums it up. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Calling any additional proponents wishing to speak on this item? Hearing none. Calling all opponents. All opponents wishing to speak on this item? Hearing none. That will do it for item number 1. Thank you. Item number 2, Massachusetts Electric Company doing business as National Grid for an underground conduit location as follows on Pleasant Street. National Grid is proposing to install underground facilities on Pleasant Street. National Grid will be installing a new switchgear manhole and PME 9 switchgear in parking lot number 277 on Pleasant Street. National Grid will also be installing 4 to 5 inches of concrete conduits from manhole MH5-1 to manhole MH6-1 to new switchgear in accordance with plan number 311-34152. Calling all proponents wishing to speak on this item. Once again, just state your name for the record, please.
Aaron Roy, 1250 Brayton Point Road, representing National Grid. This project is a National Grid proposed project. This area of Pleasant Street, we have old facilities. Primacare is helping us out by having us by letting us install a new above ground switching module that helps our circuits and our overall infrastructure. But in order to do so, we have to install new conduits in the right of way of Pleasant Street. So we're using existing manholes 5-1 and 6-1, but installing 4 or 5 inch conduits between the two locations. Conduit being encased. This type of work typically is contracted out to Body Construction, which we use. The city is familiar with Body, but whatever work they do, they repair and they bring back to as new as possible. So, any questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you.
Calling any other proponents wishing to speak on this item? Hearing none. Opponents. Any opponents wishing to speak? Hearing none, motion to close the hearing would be
Motion so made.
appropriate. Has been made by Councilor Reposo, seconded by Councilor Canuel. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. We're going to go to our Committee on Finance. Guys ready? Great. This Fall River City Council Committee on Finance meeting will now be called to order. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Counselor Scudine? Here. Kamara? Here. Canuel?
Here.
Dion?
Here.
Hart?
Here.
Peckham?
Here.
Pereira? Reposo?
Here.
President Ponti?
Here, just for everybody's edification, Councilor Pereira did have another engagement and will not be joining us this evening. Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made, whether perceived or unperceived by those present, and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. First item on our Committee on Finance agenda is citizens' input. Madam Clerk, hearing nobody signing up for citizens' input. Next item on our agenda on the Committee on Finance is a resolution
Motion to lift from the table?
Second.
is a motion to lift the item from the table has been made by Council Vice President Dion, seconded by Councilor Reposo. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item number 2 on our Committee on Finance is a resolution that was filed by Councilor Kadim and Councilor Tiff. It's a resolution to convene with the city engineer, Director of Engineering and Planning and Administration to develop a comprehensive funding strategy to match or supplement the city's annual Chapter 90 allocation to increase investment in roadway improvements. Mr. Aguirre, anybody else would like to join on this item, please come to the table. As you know, just state your name and role for the record for the public document.
Good evening, Dan Aguirre, Director of Engineering and Planning for the City of Fall River.
Emily Arpke, Director of Financial Services.
I'd like to go acknowledge Mr. Aguirre. Maybe you can give us a brief update in terms of where things are at.
So back in August, we had a great discussion with the council regarding potential supplemental funding sources for the reconstruction of our roads. We had a discussion about what we are being supplied with through MassDOT, through the Chapter 90 program, recent increases in that number that Governor Healy had implemented this year, which was very much appreciated. In that discussion, we talked about potential matches or increase in municipal funds to either match completely or some mechanism of number to supplement that number so that we could more aggressively start chipping away at our depleting and deteriorating roadway structure. Since that time, in September, I did include a capital improvement plan that included a request for some additional street funding. Since that time, we haven't had any correspondence from the administration about that until this request to come down tonight.
So if I may, out of the integrity of the resolution that's before us, Ms. Arpke, I believe the councilor's purpose, where it says, "Be it resolved, a comprehensive funding strategy to match or supplement the city's annual Chapter 90 allocation, with the goal of significantly increasing investment in roadway improvements and addressing approximately $100 million in backlog identified in the pavement management report." So what Mr. Aguirre eloquently mentioned, I'm curious to see what your team or you have done from a comprehensive funding strategy since August regarding this.
So it is incorporated into the capital plan that I know has not been published yet. It should be published tomorrow before end of day. So it has been included in there. It is, I think, in regards to what we discussed back in August on this item and also what was submitted in Mr. Aguirre's capital needs assessment. So we have included that, but the full look of how that comprehensive funding strategy looks like, it'd be best explained through the full documents of the capital improvement plan that shows the funding sources and the amounts for the next 5 years.
So again, just to be clear, it's going to be in your 5-year capital plan that you're going to be sending to the council at the next meeting?
Correct.
Roadways and infrastructure and everything along
Yep,
those lines?
so it'll actually be published tomorrow. I know that we won't obviously be discussing it tomorrow, but it will be published for everybody to start reviewing at that time.
Thank you. Councilor in seat 4, Council Vice President Dion.
Do you have roundabout number that you're looking at?
Yep, so from the meeting that we had back in August, Mr. Aguirre talked about being able to handle at least $5 million in, I'm going to say, generic roadway improvements and reconstruction, so not including the special projects. So it is about that number. So it slowly increases from, I believe, the first year, which is next year, it's just about 4.6 million. and then it goes up, upwards of like 5.3 by the 5th year of the plan.
So I know, it's in our agenda packet here. We got a printout from, Mr. Aguirre in terms of roads that are, slated to be done, future roads. Would that money go towards, would that increase the number of streets that we're gonna be able to do as opposed to just supplement those roads?
No, absolutely, and I think in that document, was submitted just recently, correct? That you'll be discussing later on. So I think there's a line in that that says these are the roadways being contemplated. So
Yep.
we don't do all of those, but those
Right.
are the streets that are being assessed. And we cannot decide on a final list of what we will be doing until this mechanism has been resolved. If it's determined that we just have Chapter 90 dollars to spend, then we work off of that.
Just that original
Correct.
list?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. With that, I yield.
Thank you, Counselor. In seat one, Counselor Kadim.
Thank you. So I guess my question, and I can wait for the discussion on the capital, but is it the administration's anticipating that we are going to be moving with the 4.6 and the $5 million, or however, whatever that projection looks like in the capital? Because I recognize, capital plans are there, right? But at the end of the day, there's going to be limited resources, right? So are we committing, I guess that's what I'm trying to get, are we committing to additional funds going over for the roads?
Yes, so the plan itself, I know that the capital plan has not been necessarily utilized in the way that I think we agree that it should be. So this is all factored in, and it shows a full financing schedule for every project in there through all different sources that have been confirmed, the amount of debt that we could take on to make all of it happen. So the goal is that we will be sending it down. There will be financial orders to follow almost immediately that stay in line with the plan, that show that it's not just a planning document that's required to be submitted, but it's a full plan that we intend to follow. So the one that's in there for the roadways, that almost $5 million includes the Chapter 90. So we're saying that we'll commit to about $5 million a year, and then whatever doesn't come in from Chapter 90, we will fill the gap with debt service at that time, at this point in time.
You mean maintaining the Chapter 90 levels, is that what you're saying? When you say filling the Chapter 90?
So the goal is to do about $5 million of roadwork a year, regardless of how much Chapter 90 is within that.
Yeah, so,
So it'd be 5 million total, including Chapter 90, and then we will supplement whatever else it takes to get to that 5 million.
okay. All right, I'll wait till the capital item. I'm good. I yield, thank you.
Counselor. Anything else? Any further? Counselor in seat six, Counselor Peckham?
Just as far as the funding, the local tax, the 3% community impact fee from the marijuana dispensaries, I know in a lot of cities and towns, that goes to the Chapter 90 to take care of the roadways that the dispensary sits on, as well as public safety. When we take in that tax money, the 3% local, and then I believe we get 3% back, right, from the state? State kicks us 3% and we get 3%, correct? Not anymore? Okay, thank you. Very
No,
rumsey.
sorry, yeah.
All right, so in a nutshell, any of the money that we receive in taxes from the marijuana dispensaries, does any of that get earmarked for Chapter 90, or is it all go into the general fund and we
No.
just spend it?
Yeah, it's all right now for the general fund. That, I'm gonna say hosted community agreement that you were kind of referencing, that additional funding, that's what has legally been revoked at this point, so,
Okay.
so no. So everything in there right now is just a part of the general fund.
So it's just a local tax
receipts.
that we collect
Yeah,
off of it?
unfortunately.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate it. I yield.
Thank you, Counselor in seat two, Counselor Kamara.
Thank you, Mr. President. Are we doing full reconstruction or are we doing overlays on these streets?
Every street is looked at differently.
So whichever one needs the full reconstruction will get done.
Yeah, so we make an assessment of existing pavement quality, gravel quality, granite curb, sidewalks. Most of the streets need granite curb resetting. We fill in with new curb when we need to, but most need new sidewalks. We don't tend to go into a street unless it needs a lot of work, just because those are the streets that we try to hit first. Very rarely do we do full-depth reconstruction, which would be pulling out gravel. Sometimes all of the asphalt comes out, sometimes it's just a mill and an overlay. So like on Bedford Street, it was a mill and an overlay, so we mill first, level and course goes down first, that sits for about a year, and then they come in and do 2 inches of top after that.
So it all depends on on what the street conditions are.
I'm sorry.
It all depends on what the condition
On
of
the
the street
condition of the
is.
street is, I haven't seen anything that's really required full depth.
Are we following the gas company, what they're still doing their?
We are 100%. So I
Okay.
think in that memo, again, we're working with Liberty and with the Department of Community Utilities to determine what streets are eligible. So there are a number of streets, you look at the, the pavement management plan that we supplied Councilor Reposo with back in September. We have to do something to narrow down the streets. We can't just stop picking them willy-nilly of that one needs to be paved. So if gas hasn't been done, we try to stay out of it. If it needs water or sewer work in the next 5 years, we try to stay out of it, unless it's completely falling apart and we have no other option.
Okay, there's one more question I had. What was it? No. It was just, I didn't write it down. With regards to the street, what was the question? I'll come back to it when I think about it. I yield, thank you.
And if
Thank
you don't
you.
remember, feel free to give me a call.
No, I'll remember it.
Council in seat one, Councilor Kadim.
Thank you. So, you
No,
actually,
I remember it.
oh, I'll kick it back over.
Council
Sorry,
in seat two, go ahead.
thank you. Any vacant lots on any of these streets, are we notifying the owners that we're gonna be paving the streets if they
Yes.
wanna put the laterals in and make the connections?
100%. We notify every landowner, whether it's a vacant lot or not,
Yep.
that this is the time to replace your water, sewer, gas.
Right.
If you want to alter
Okay,
your
just wanna make
existing-
sure we're doing all
If
of
you
that.
want to alter your existing curb opening, now's the time to do it. So yes, that all goes out, regular mail to every landowner.
Right, perfect. Thank you, with that I yield.
Thank you. Council in seat one, you have the floor.
So my question is regarding the pavement management report, and I know you just made mention of it. So the last report we have is 2014?
Correct.
Correct. So is that useful? Is that a useful tool?
It's useful. I honestly don't think it needs updating,
Okay.
to be honest with you. I mean, if we were at the point where we were searching out streets to reconstruct, then it might be worth the effort to go in and redo it. You could really just throw a dart at a dartboard and.
'Cause there's so many.
And find streets, yeah. There's-
All right. 'Cause I was just gonna ask
There is
if-
there is no lack of streets that need reconstruction.
Okay, I was just gonna ask if it would be beneficial to have a new updated pavement management report, but,
I do not think
which might just move some streets ahead of others, but
It might do some ranking
Yeah.
differences, but we still utilize that document to create our overall list.
Mm-hmm.
And then we start looking at the qualifiers like gas, like water, sewer. So we've also been very lucky with some grant opportunities that we've been able to get over the last year or two that help supplement this as well. And that's, some of that documents was in that memo that I sent you as well. So a lot of the times, if we're able to get a grant, that kind of steers us into, okay, well, now we have to do that street. If we just got $1.5 million to do the street, we have to do that street, you know,
Yep.
so it's, that kind of directs us as well.
Okay. I yield, thank you.
Anything further on this item? Hearing none, is there a motion to table?
Motion to table.
Motion to table has been made by Councilor Peckham, seconded by Councilor Kadim. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Aguirre. Next item on our agenda, are you here for this too, Mr. Aguirre, regarding the? Okay. Resolution to convene with the administration and the Director of City Operations, Mr. Olivera, and anybody else who wants to speak on this item, please come down to the table at this time. Item 3, convene with the administration and the Director of City Operations to present a definite action plan for the repair of the Pearl Street and Third Street parking garages. That item has been in committee, and we will hear from you now. If you could please state your name and your role for the record, please.
Al Olivera, Director of City Operations.
Stephanie MacArthur, Director of Traffic and Parking.
Alan Runte, Corporation Counsel.
Okay, well, welcome. This sponsor of this resolution was Council in seat 1, Councilor Kadim. Mr. Olivera, I'd like to turn to you first. Can you please give us an update since we last discussed this item?
Yes. At this time, I'll give you a quick chronological update of what we're currently doing. I would like to also mention that part of the team that we're working with internally, we have other tasks to do, but these are some of the things that we work on daily when the situation arises. Mr. Glenn Hathaway, the building commissioner, is not here with us right now. Stephanie MacArthur, Director of Traffic, and myself, we pretty much work within the team to try to figure out the next steps, and then we work with the administration. Currently, last Friday, I met with the appraiser. The appraiser is going to be appraising the Third Street lot, the Pearl Street lot, and then the Third Street, I take it back, Third Street garage, Pearl Street garage, and the Third Street lots. This appraisal will give us a market value for each garage and lot, and this value will be able to plan the next steps. The appraisal will be expected within 2 weeks. On June 27th, 2025, the city hired Ty and Bond designers and engineers to perform a structural concerns report of the Third and the Pearl Street garages. October 2nd, 2024, city hired Ty and Bond engineers to perform a conditions assessment of the Pearl and Third Street garages. The status and the current plan. The city has currently designed the total repair of the Pearl Street garage with the possible procurement to bring the garage to full capacity. This appraisal will assist the city with the potential repairs and the possible sale. Third Street garage. The city has informed its designer to complete the design of the Third Street garage. The city would procure the repairs to bring the garage to full capacity. Once the repairs are completed and at full capacity, the occupants of the adjacent lot, will be moved over to the Third Street garage. Once the open lot is prepared, the city's plan is to add an additional level of a parking garage or additional levels to that open space. Recently, today, we had a meeting with the structural engineers regarding the Pearl Street garage. There was some verbal concerns of the garage. There was some chips that fell. We brought the structural engineers over again today to determine the condition of the garage. Visually, they had no concerns. However, they're doing a more in-depth report, and we'll have that report within a week. During that last investigation that they did in 2024, they actually had points within the garage to determine if there's any shifts or any cracks in the garage, and there's no cracks or visible concerns at this point. We did cordon off some areas of concern, and the only reason why we cordoned off those areas was specifically towards spalding and some cracks of chips falling down and potentially hitting cars or anything like that. But structurally, of that garage, everything's okay to utilize right now.
Well,
And
and
we'll
just to
know
be
more.
clear, we're talking about the Third Street garage?
The Pearl Street.
Or Pearl Street?
Pearl
Okay, very good.
And that is an update that we have at this point. Any questions?
To Councilman C4, Council Vice President Dion.
So we'll have the results of 2 reports within 2 weeks.
So we'll have a structural report that, from this walkthrough that I had today, and then we'll have the appraisal in 2 weeks, yes.
Okay. I mean, obviously, the garages need to be repaired. They need to be brought to a useful life so that we can start incurring more revenue. Do you anticipate that you will be coming down sooner than later to bond to that end?
Once we have the appraisal, we'll have the next steps of what we're gonna do with each garage. And the plan is to move forward with the repair of the third garage. So yes, we will be coming down for some financial issues.
Okay, I'll yield for now, thank you.
If I may ask, can you please elaborate for my edification and the edification of the council and the public? What is the appraisal going to do from a cost analysis in terms of how you are going to determine how much both of those garages need in terms of work? Are we talking about an appraisal by an appraiser is going to then get you to begin your process to bid out the necessary repairs?
No, right now we have the Pearl Street ready for procurement. It's been ready for a few months now.
Procurement for what, Mr. Oliver?
Oh, I'm sorry, for the repairs. For the repairs that was determined by the Ty and Bond engineers.
Okay.
So those repairs, we put together a specification with repairs where the plan is to procure that, repair it, and make full occupancy.
Okay,
So, just speaking to the appraisal part of it, there was some questions and concerns brought up with, I think from some members of the council, or former members of the council, that wanted to know what the garages were worth, and if it was worth the amount of money that we were going to be putting into them to make them whole again. So having this appraisal will just kind of hopefully proof out the cost to repair and maintain the garages moving forward.
and before I acknowledge Carly can seat one, how much money are these parking garages generating, Ms. MacArthur, in terms of income per month?
Just the parking garages, or are you asking about the open lot as well?
Let's say parking garages for now.
Both parking garages, we're looking at about $50,000 to $60,000 a month
Each or collectively?
collectively.
Thank you. Counselor in seat one, Counselor Kadim.
Thank you. So you're saying, so we've got the appraisal, that's gonna come back, so that's gonna be a cost-benefit analysis, whether or not it makes sense to move forward with repairs, right? You're saying that Pearl Street, as I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, is ready to go out to bid?
That is correct.
So what is the anticipated cost for Pearl Street? I know we're gonna go out to bid, but do we have an estimate?
So when I mentioned that we were looking at having the building, the garages fully occupied, the Third Street garage is looking at $6,716,000, and then the Pearl Street is $4,255,000. So when we say fully, that's there's three phases that they designed this these garages for. The first one was to make sure that every space would be occupied. That's the first phase. We thought that would be important just to make sure that everyone is able to get in there, drive into a space, and be safe. The second phase was little minor concrete that was chipping, because this building is built in the 70s. There may be some rebar that's rotted through and has some structural issues. That's phase two. Those repairs would happen as well. And then the third one is we're renovating this, we're occupying this. Let's manage this by maintaining preventative maintenance. So that's the full scope that we added to this. At any point in time, the administration or the council can say, hey, listen, let's just go with number one. Let's go with number one and number two. This is making that parking garage 100% usable, stairwells, safety, everything. So those are the costs that we have for that.
So the 4.2 million for Pearl
Correct.
includes all three phases?
Correct.
So when you say preventative maintenance, what do you mean? Wouldn't we carry preventative maintenance in the operating budget?
Well, when we say preventative maintenance, it would be to make sure that we have that inspected annually. We have repairs that just pop up during the preventative maintenance, just to make sure that those places are ready to go.
So, and I don't want to go down this road, but I guess when I look at the 4.2 million, I'm looking at a complete renovation of the parking garages,
Correct.
right? Soup to nuts, no other, and so I would think preventive maintenance would be built into the operating budget. I would think that you're either looking for a bond or one-time, like either
Yes, so.
stabilization account money, so like, how are you building in the preventative maintenance into that
So,
number?
so the preventative maintenance in the last phase, from what I'm understanding, is more of, like a step ahead of preventative maintenance. So rather than the annual 200,000 that we would be spending to put into it, it's to get ahead of some of the bigger things that could be coming in a couple of years, or doing things that would make sure that more of that doesn't need to be done, is the way that I was reading those plans. So it's not as much of that number that you're hearing, it's probably just a small portion of it to kind of get it ready to be maintained through the
So
operating
it's
budget for
still
years to
major,
come.
I guess, major repairs or not
Yes.
necessarily minor repairs that you would.
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
so the normal preventative maintenance would be in our operating budget. That is correct, but this is a step above that.
Okay. And so then I guess my question is if we're ready to go out to bid, there was no structural evaluation done from the architect?
There was a structural for all, both of them, yes.
There, okay, so what's the structural evaluation for now then, I guess?
So.
How's that differ compared to what we did for the bid documents?
So the structural, what we did is there was some concerns, Counselor, that there was some chips falling down, so we actually met with the engineers about a week ago. We met with them again today. There was some concerns about, maybe the building shifting with all this snow load with some frost happening. And once that happened, we brought the structural guys in, assessed it. We did a quick visual around, and they kept, after we left, we showed them the areas, and they were doing their report, they were measuring things, they were making sure that we shore up certain areas in that, the areas that we're not occupying right now. So the first question that I asked is, please let me know if this is safe or not, right? And without a doubt, we did a full walkthrough of that, and then they said, what we see right now, there is no concern. We'll do a full report, and we'll tell you what other things we'd like to do. Last time we met with them, probably 6 months ago, there was some concern against some concrete falling off again, and that's why we cordoned off some areas. The major thing to me is making sure that everyone's safe that parks in there, right?
Yeah, I think that goes without saying.
Yeah.
I guess what I'm trying to figure out is that you put construction documents together without well, you're saying a structural analysis was completed, but I guess what's changed?
There was concerns that something had changed, is why we kind of called them back out. We, I think, internally felt like the documents we had said everything was safe, but because there was new chips that were following, there was a concern that our structural assessment from 6 months ago was no longer still true, and so there was it's just a reassessment. So it's not holding anything up right now, it's just another checkpoint while we're waiting to move forward. There aren't actual additional concerns from the
None of that's
internal
gonna be in the
changed.
specification.
I guess why wouldn't it be in the specification though? Like if you come back with changes in structural, like the report shows that there's a structural change, like why wouldn't that be in the specifications?
Well, what they're basically saying is, we just wanted to make sure that those chips were not.
Oh, you're saying they said there's not gonna be any change?
Yeah, there won't be
oh,
any,
okay,
yeah, there
I
won't be any
gotcha.
change. So, I mean, what the specifications are right now, the only thing if we procure that today, the only thing that's gonna change is the dates.
Gotcha. I misunderstood
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you were saying. I thought you were saying that there was, the structural report was not gonna be included into.
No, not included.
Okay. And then structurally, the Third Street garage, there's no structural issues there?
It's almost the same, it's just that this is the concrete. If you look at the body, if you just little minor cuts and scrapes, that's basically what the pearl looks like. It's just some of the concrete that's spalding, and it looks bad, but every time we show the designers and structural engineers, they always say it looks good, looks good.
So then, in terms of, so we get the appraisal back, and I'm not sure what evaluation is gonna be done by the administration, so if the decision or the outcome is that we're gonna move forward with the parking garages, are we taking both parking garages at the same time? We phasing them in? What are we doing?
The initial plan was to phase them in, but then we determined, let's get an appraisal to make sure that we're doing the right thing. And now, once that happens, the plan would be to move forward with both of those.
At the
if
same
that's-
time, or?
At the same time, if that's what the plan would be to do.
The design documents are written so that we can be doing these repairs while they're occupied, so, I think
Yes.
But at the same time, you're not
Yeah,
gonna
the
take
goal
one
is to
first,
do-
you're not gonna
yeah.
take Pearl Street first and
No.
then wait on Third?
We were only gonna do one first because it was ready first, because it needed less, so
Okay.
the only reason that we would semi-phase them is just whenever it's ready, we're gonna try and move forward, so.
All right, so we're looking at close to, $11 million Is that-
So the first immediate to get all spaces occupied is, between the two, is just under 6 million. So that's really the step one that we're gonna be taking financially right now. The goal would be for year one, so within this next calendar year, that we would be looking for the funding for that 6 million to start.
So you would be looking at a phased approach then?
Just for that initial, I think the phases after that, you know, we could also talk about adding them in then, but I could tell you, if you ask me today, we can handle taking that 6 million today, and I think that the goal would be to start there and move, and then if we wanna add to that within even the next 6 months, that's fine. I think it's just to not delay this any further. We wanna get moving on the most important parts.
I guess, from a saving measure, I guess, would it make more sense just to get the authorization from the council for all three phases? Put in the construction documents that it's gonna be phased, so that the work obviously can be phased, so we can get everybody in there. But just have one GC bid it all, then they know they got, I don't know, 3 years' worth of work that they gotta do on the parking garages. And then in minimizing mobilization, going out to bid again and things of that nature. And I mean, you got control of the, you know, when we go out to borrow, so we
Right.
don't need to go out for the entire amount. I'm just thinking long-term, what makes the most sense, especially if you're gonna phase it.
Yeah, I mean, to be
We-
honest with
we
you,
could.
it might, the initial thoughts, I'm gonna say 6 months ago, was that we were gonna be doing this with free cash, the first portions of it with free cash. Now, given this timeline, that's probably not gonna line up well, so that's kind of where that shift is coming from right now.
All right, I yield.
Thank you. Just as a follow-up to Councilor Kadeem's, you keep mentioning preventative maintenance. Ms. MacArthur, where in your budget do you have preventative maintenance for the parking garages?
That would actually be
That
under
would-
Director Olivera.
Counselor, that would be facilities, yes.
So under, you don't have it line itemed under traffic and parking, it's elsewhere?
No, we don't.
Where is it?
And then facilities budget, so
Facilities.
facilities has
Facilities. All right, I'll
a
look
repair
more.
and maintenance budget of about $2 million.
Got it. Councilman C. Councilor Reposo?
Yeah, that was actually what I was gonna ask. There it goes. That's what I was gonna ask, because I was actually looking through the budget book just a minute ago to see where that lined as far as the garages are particularly, but it's not just particular garage, it's overall facilities,
Facilities,
preventative
correct.
maintenance.
And we've talked about adding that line in, I think, in the budget conversations we've had, once these repairs are done. So at this point, that level of, you know, preventative maintenance is honestly kind of a waste there at this moment. So as the repairs are done, so within probably fiscal year 28, we would have additional funds allocated into that. We do have the breakout of detail of what we're kind of putting in for repairs and maintenance, so we could put a line in if you guys would like to see it that way at that point in time, to show specifically what's being done to these garages. But until these main repairs are done and brought up to the standard that we need it to, that general preventative maintenance line is not really fruitful.
Yeah, which make, down the road, that's what you want to see. And I think during budget time, I mentioned that the idea of that, the $60,000 coming in per month from traffic is going to the general fund, as opposed to being reinvested in the long-term maintenance of the garages themselves.
Council, we've had numerous discussions about that yet, and you're right. It makes sense. It
We-
does, but.
We will make sure that when those revenues increase, the preventative maintenance is also increasing in the budget, whether it's in the general fund budget, whether it's in a special fund, but we will make sure that funds are very clearly designated to be going towards this preventative maintenance to not end up back here.
Okay. And just hypothetically speaking, if, let's say tomorrow, the garage fully opened, would it be met with capacity at that point? Is there a demand for it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I have a waiting list for both garages.
Okay, excellent. And then the last question is on the terms of the appraisal. Is there any conversation or position of the administration to sell anything? Or is it just more of just to see what it's worth?
So there is an appetite to look into it right now, and that appraisal will direct us to where we can go with that.
But is it safe to assume that the primary objective is to repair?
Currently, the primary objective is to repair.
Okay, I yield, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor in seat 4, Council Vice President Dion.
Yeah, in terms of revenue and return on investment, how many more parking spaces will we gain if we bring both up to code, so to speak?
In the Pearl garage, it would be 150 spaces, and in the third garage, it would be 120.
So a total of 270 parking spaces.
Correct.
When we bring the garages to 100%, at that point, we would also be able to increase the cost of parking, correct? Which would also increase your revenue,
Correct, other than the individuals we're in contract with.
correct? But any of those other parking spaces, we could be renting them at today's rate as opposed to what we're doing now.
So council, yes, that is correct. We've had numerous discussions about that as well, but the appraiser is also going to have the fair market typical rates in this area, what we should be asking for.
Which I'm sure is still gonna be more than what we're charging now.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. With that, I yield.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor in seat 3, Counselor Canuel.
Thank you. First question, is there an estimate for phase one, once that money gets authorized, how long that would take to complete?
So it would normally be around 10 months. However, we're going to be occupied at that time. So it's going to be probably an additional three months or so, plus.
Okay. And then, Ms. MacArthur, you stated that we're getting, I annualized it, 600 to 720,000 annually for the 2 garages. Assuming these repairs are made and we get to full capacity, since the demand is there, how much additional revenue would we be taking in as a result of these repairs?
I don't have that number on me. I can get that for you though, Counselor.
Okay, thank you.
And that's also gonna depend on if we do increase the rates as well.
Sure. I think just, and the other thing I just want to comment on is regarding a sale of these, I would be very concerned, the city would obviously lose a revenue generator for us, and particularly control of the rates that people pay. I've seen many times places privatize parking and maybe get a little bit back from that, but those rates suddenly get jacked up, and I'm worried about the impact to our businesses, but especially downtown. If those rates were to go too high, it could deter business. So with that, I yield.
Thank you, Counselor. Before I acknowledge our colleague in seat 6, just to be clear, when you say preventative maintenance in the operating budget, you're talking about in the facilities department having $2.2 million of expenses. There's not a line item for $2 million for preventative maintenance in facilities.
Correct.
Okay, I just want to make it clear. I don't want people to think that we can try to find a line item of $2 million in facilities for operations. The facilities department has a budget approved of, I guess it's a little over, $2.3 to $3 million or something like that for facilities.
Correct.
And you're able to transfer within your own department without council approval if you have some surpluses in some funds for preventative maintenance, correct?
He doesn't necessarily transfer it. He's the one that's responsible for taking care of the work being done in all city facilities, so.
Okay, I just want to make it clear, because a representation was made to this council that we have preventative maintenance accounts. And I want to make it clear, it's not like we have an individualized preventative maintenance account for anything in facilities. You have facilities expenses, you don't have line items for facilities,
That is
for
correct.
preventative maintenance. Just
Correct.
want to make it clear. And out of curiosity, if Ms. MacArthur can, or somebody can answer, why wouldn't preventative maintenance for traffic parking garages be in the traffic department?
I only oversee the enforcement and the revenue part of the parking garages.
You don't foresee any of the expenses?
Nope.
Counselor in seat 6, Counselor Peckham.
Ms. MacArthur, with the Pearl Street Garage, is there, you mentioned contracts a little while ago, contracted spots. How many are contracted at the Pearl Street Garage?
Pearl Street Garage, just one.
Okay. How many parking spots are they contracted to have?
250 with the option to have, with the reservation fee being paid, an additional 200.
So 250 now,
Mm-hmm.
and then they have the option for 200 more?
Yep.
How many spots does that garage hold?
$374.
So he's contracted, or she's contracted for 450 spots, and we don't even have enough spots in that
That is
building. So
correct.
ultimately, we're repairing this building for a contractor. A contract.
Contract, yeah.
Seems like it.
And that's the reason that we have been at all entertaining a conversation on potential sale of the
Okay.
garage.
And with that contract, can we increase the parking fee in that contract? Can we up the cost of, or the price of what we charge him monthly, or is that set in a contract as well?
Yeah, there's just an annual percentage that we're allowed to and he's
So
capped at that
ultimately,
at this point.
out of the 450 contracted spots, we have less than that. So we might not see any revenue increase from that garage, correct? Just wanted to put that on record. With that, I yield. Thank you, Council President.
Council in seat one, Councilor Kadim.
Thank you. So in terms of the preventative maintenance, have we talked to the structural engineers in terms of what we should be doing for preventative maintenance? Or I don't know if the architect has provided like just a checklist of yearly tasks that we should be doing? Do we have
Yeah,
that?
so that's that would be part of the agreement that we had with them, just to make sure that they guided us to what we needed to do after the fact, after all this construction. I mean, making sure all the joints are taken care of annually and inspected. So those are all things that were inclusive of that. So they would give us a checklist, absolutely.
That's inclusive of the going out to bid for the phases?
Correct.
I mean, is that something we can get in advance, just to know, on a yearly basis, you gotta, test concrete, you gotta test rebar, you gotta, I don't know, power wash, I don't know what goes into the preventative maintenance for parking garages, so I would like to just, I guess, see, what that task looks like, right, that on a yearly basis, make sure that we're following it, and then at that point, we can get a better estimate of what the yearly preventative maintenance costs associated with the parking garages would be.
Correct.
I'm just curious to know what that looks like. And then we just have a schedule of tasks that need to be completed on these garages. I just don't want to get to a point where, we're spending $12 million and then we're just, letting them just sit there without doing the preventative maintenance ourselves internally.
That's a great question, Council. That's the reason why I phased it in. The first one is occupy, the second one is to repair, and the third one is to make sure there's a preventative maintenance schedule and plan. At all those, we could pick any one, two, or three, or all three.
Okay.
So that was the plan.
So is that a significant cost to phase it?
It's really, to fix it?
No, to phase it, right?
To
You're
phase it.
saying the
No, it's
preventative
not.
maintenance, okay.
So when we put the phases, we can include all that as one, but just to know that what work is gonna happen in each phase.
Yeah, I guess I would be looking for the report in advance to any construction taking place, so that we already have it, so we know whatever phase we're dealing with.
Absolutely.
And we still have
Yeah.
to go in there and do some type of,
I think that's the plan. When we submit a full financial order and plan, we will include all of those documents that we've been looking at to make these decisions, so that you all have that same information that we are making our decisions based off of.
all right, I just wanna
And
make
it's a
sure.
great question, Council, but because we don't wanna be here again. Because if we repair this and we put the funds into this, we don't wanna come back and have a condition typical to this or any close to this.
I know we're not all experts in parking garages, but I just wanna make sure that, I know elevators need to be inspected on a yearly basis. That's what's needed on parking garages? Is there any type of, specialty maintenance that needs to take place that we might have to, sub out to a vendor to come in and do it for us, and just get on a annual basis, that's all. Thank you. With that, I yield.
Thank you, Council in seat two, Councilor Kamara.
Yeah, it's just like bridges. It's very similar to it, and same maintenance they do with bridges and oversights, anything. There's just, they'll check for cracks,
Correct.
structurally sound, how strong it is, and that type of thing. Same
Correct.
inspection at the bridge.
The joints happen to be one of the top ones that they have to inspect.
Just don't get the
Absolutely.
Providence firm.
After the inspection. I yield, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor in seat eight, Councilor Reposo.
Just quick question. I don't know if you said it or not. When is the appraisal coming back on the two garages?
In 2 weeks,
You gonna share that with us once you have it?
absolutely.
Thank you. I yield.
Thank you. If I could offer a suggestion, I think a lot of the discussion here tonight had a lot to do with real estate and facilities. So if we could refer this item, if it's the will of the council, to the full council, so that the real estate committee and facilities committee would be able to discuss this in length, and if there are appraisers, come in, vet that there, and then come back to the council if it's the will of the committee. And if you're worried about getting a financial outlook, we're going to capture that by Ms. Arpkey telling us in our capital plan.
Motion to refer to full council.
Motion to refer the item to full council has been made
Second.
by Councilor Reposo,
Second.
seconded by Council Vice President Dion. Is there discussion on the referral? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Motion to adjourn finance.
Motion to adjourn
Second.
finance has been made by Councilor Reposo, seconded by Councilor Peckham. All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. This Fall River City Council meeting will now be called to order. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Council Scudini.
Here.
Camara.
Here.
Manuel.
Here.
Leon.
Here.
Hart.
Here.
Peckham.
Here.
Pereira. Reposo.
Here.
President Ponti.
Here, if everybody in the chamber can please rise for a moment of silent prayer. Thank you, and a salute to the flag. My pledge allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting or may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made, whether perceived or unperceived by those present, and they're deemed acknowledged and permissible. First item on our agenda, Madam Clerk.
Mr. President, the first item before you is the fiscal year quarter two budget report.
Motion to refer to the Committee on Finance.
Second.
Motion to refer the quarter two budget report to full council, to the Committee on Finance has been made by Councilor Reposo, seconded by Councilor Peckham. Is there discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Item two is a communication from the council president to the Corporation Council and the Director of Human Resources regarding the executive summary of a recent internal personnel investigation into the public record and the Corporation Council's reply.
Motion to
Accept.
accept and place on file.
Motion to accept and place the item on file has been made by Council Vice President Dion, seconded by Councilor Reposo. Is there discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Item three is a communication from the council president to the mayor in support of proposed renovations to the city clerk and council offices and the city council chamber lobby.
Motion to accept.
Motion to accept and place on file has been made by Councilor Peckham, seconded by Councilor Reposo. Discussion. I just want to let my colleague and the colleagues in the community know, I did draft this letter only because, for a couple of reasons, there is quite a bit of work needed in the city clerk's office, even from a perspective of weddings and some of the things that they do in that office for handicap accessibility for the main room. In addition to the council chamber, outside of our council chambers, the floors are in terrible condition. There's schools that come here for field trips, and we're often dealing with delegations, and it needs to be a little bit more acceptable. A discussion was had with the city clerk, myself and Mr. Oliveira, prior to our first meeting, and I just wanted to be totally transparent with the council on our efforts to make sure that we clean some of these things up and make sure that our support staff, the clerks, have a environment that is conducive to working conditions. So that was the purpose of that. I just wanted my colleagues to know. Motion, hearing no further discussion. Council in seat 8, Councilor Reposo.
Yeah, I guess there's a question I'll probably have, and maybe it can get answered later, but essentially, I know there was discussion about some of the improvements that were being done, ADA compliance, for example. We talked about that a few years ago. I don't know at this point where that stands and if that was included a part of this, because I know there was some work that was done. Madam Clerk, I don't know if you can speak to any
Madam
of
Clerk?
it. But,
Would you be referring to the counter?
yeah,
That is complete.
that is all complete.
Yes.
Was there any other work to be done outside of what that was gonna happen?
Within the private offices of the city clerk, for the public to enter our conference room, there are some ADA limitations because of the way the pathway to the conference room, so it does, we've had some issues over the years
To say,
with that.
to just be, to be more direct with you on that, with disrespect. If somebody with a wheelchair comes into the side of the city clerk's office and tries to go around that door, it makes it extremely challenging to make that turn, as well as it's also a challenge for the staff to get behind that individual at times to help move to go into that hearing room for a wedding or whatever they're there for. So the discussion was had in that hallway that leads to the city council office is to hopefully see if we can put a door in there that would be accessible to access the city clerk's hearing room so that they could adequately do that without that additional strain.
Okay, so I guess my bigger question is the status of the ADA improvements that were slated to be done in City Hall. I guess my larger question is that, if that's part of it. So I guess, Mr. President, through you to the clerk, if we can get an update on that, to see if that's actually a part of it, and if not, maybe we probably should have that conversation.
Are you talking about ADA compliance counselor in the city clerk's office in the council room or all of City Hall?
That end of all of City Hall, because that,
Okay.
in that committee we talked a few years ago when I was chair of that, we discussed that, but I haven't heard anything since on it, so maybe an update would be helpful.
All right,
in
we'd
that
certainly get that update for you.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, if you can send that email on behalf of Councilor Reposo tomorrow to Mr. Olivera to get an update on all of City Hall, that'd be great. If you want to file a resolution at the next meeting.
Will do.
Find it appropriate to do so.
Thank you.
Any
I yield.
further discussion? Hearing none, motion to accept and place on file has been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Item 4 is the communication from the Director of Engineering and Planning regarding reconstruction projects under contract.
Motion to
accept.
accept and place on file.
Motion to accept the item and place it on file has been made by Councilor Peckham, seconded by Councilor Reposo. Is there discussion? I will be the only one to tell you that this is also a communication that I had with Mr. Aguirre due to a number of individuals that have reached out to the council office and through our emails about when is their street getting done. I had a conversation exchange with Mr. Aguirre. He clearly let me know what locations and streets are planned getting done at various times, and I wanted the council to be aware of that. I also asked Mr. Aguirre if on a quarterly basis, he could send this communication to the city council office so that we can be shared with all of you in a transparent manner. Hearing no further discussions, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Item 5 is a communication from the Director of City Operations regarding the inspection of the central fire station.
Motion to accept.
Motion to accept the communication and place it on file has been made by Councilor Peckham,
Second.
seconded by Councilor Canula. Is there discussion? Hearing none.
Just-
Councilor in seat 2?
Just want to clarify, in that report, there was no mention of asbestos blowing up. There was no Quequechan River in the basement. I didn't see it.
Are you asking me? I can tell you that the letter says at the basement, I found suspicious white product inside of a pipe scattered on the floor. This looks like clarification,
Calcification.
Calcification.
yeah, whatever that word is. Byproduct inside of a cut cast pipe.
Right. But it
So
wasn't
I didn't
asbestos.
see the word asbestos
Correct.
on it, to answer your question.
Yeah. I didn't see the word asbestos either. And as far as the Quequechan River flooding out that basement, is that, I didn't see the report as well. There was no mention of that.
You're correct. Was not in Mr. Olivera's report.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor in seat 1, Councilor Kadim?
Thank you. Just to piggyback on my colleagues' questions. So do we know, has the testing come back? Well, number one, I guess, has there been testing for that? And I'm looking at that first picture that's in this letter where it says, as I entered the basement, I found a suspicious white product inside of a pipe and scattered on the floor. This looks like a calcification byproduct inside of a cut cast pipe. I guess, can we get clarification? Because it doesn't say if it was tested or not tested, and what did the test come back as? Because there's clearly white material that's there that could be, it could very well be, but I guess I would just want confirmation that it's not asbestos, right? So if we could, through the clerk, get that
If you would
clar-
like, Councilor, do you want to keep it, you want to accept a place on file or refer the item to a subcommittee?
Sure,
Yeah, someone just
we'll send it to the
Either public-
Vice Chairs Committee. What's
either-
it called now? Real Estate and Facilities?
Or public safety, whatever you prefer.
No, let's just do Real Estate and Facilities.
I think the questions are valid. I don't have any of the answers. I haven't been briefed by the mayor or Mr. Olivera on this. So to your point, Counselor, I think we should certainly send it to the most popular committee by far in these last 2 weeks. Is that a motion by Councilor Kadim?
So moved.
Motion to refer the item to the
Second.
Committee on Real Estate has been made by Councilor Kadim, seconded by Councilor Reposo. Is there any further discussion on the referral? Councilor in seat 6, Councilor Peckham.
Negative on the referral, just the topic itself, Council
That's okay, I'll let
President.
you speak on it.
So I just want to touch upon what Council Kadim said. If it was suspicious, you wouldn't know what it was. So yeah, I would like to get it tested. And as far as the Quequechan River running under the station, I've seen it. If you're down there and you don't see it, you better get your eyes checked. There's a big square in the floor that's cut out and the water's running right under the station. It's an
Oh, I know, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Just let, I'll acknowledge you next, Councilor.
yeah, and I know they have other issues such as rodent issues and whatnot in the basement, and it appears to be that cutout in the floor with the water running under the building seems to be a big contributor to that. But I just wanted to add that as well. Thank you, Council President. I
Thank
yield.
you, Councilor. Councilor in seat 2, Councilor
Yeah,
Kamara.
no, I get that the Quequechan River flows under those buildings, goes under the Chamber of Commerce building as well, but I don't want it, I was told it was flooding the basement. That's different. So, I mean, if we just
Yeah.
want to see a report and say what it says, you get
Yeah, no, of
code
course,
to prevent
and
from flooding the basement. So-
If I may, Counsel, I was only referring to the fact of what was reported to us, that there was
Right.
no mention of it at all, but it's right there.
No, I know the building's under the Quickenham, and so is the Chamber of Commerce, a lot of buildings
Yeah.
are, but I didn't want to make sure it's not flooding the basement there.
Yeah, so
Not
what I-
flooding the basement in the Quickenham, in the Chamber of Commerce building, it's not flooding any of the basements that I know of, so.
I don't wanna
just
take his
make
turn.
sure. So I wanted to make sure it wasn't flooding the basement building to the fire station.
Valid concern. You yield, Counselor?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Counselor in seat 6, Counselor Peckham?
Just to touch upon that, I can tell you I've seen video to where it backs up and it blows geysers out of the sinks
Wow.
and the grease trap. Something you would see in the movies, so, thank you, I yield.
You want to make a motion to waive the rules? Motion to waive the rules to bring Mr. Olivera down. Mr. Olivera, you're just welcome to the chamber. We're talking about the fire station. Your letter has been made by Counselor Kadim. Is there a second to waive the rules? Seconded by Counselor Reposo. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. There are some follow-up questions, Mr. Olivera. I know you weren't in the chamber regarding the fire station that you inspected in your letter. The motion is on the floor right now to refer it to the Real Estate and Facilities Committee so we can have a more broad discussion about it. Counselor in seat 1 and Counselor in seat 2 are asking questions about if you saw asbestos and if the basement was flooding. If you could just let the council know, because that was not in your letter.
If it was tested, the suspicious material.
And the suspicious material, if it was tested or not, or if you plan on it.
Al Oliver, Director of City Operations. So there were two reports that materialized regarding asbestos. The first one was, every time we have any renovation, older building, older than 1972, you typically have to test. It's not typical, it's a mandate. So you test every product that may be interrupted, wall plaster, ceiling tiles, floor tiles, the mastic, pipe insulation, anything that could potentially be asbestos. That report was done and completed, and I shared it with the house captain. The only thing that they found that was asbestos that they have potentially interrupting during the construction was the pipe insulation. Very rare that, I'm surprised that that was the only thing that came up asbestos. A lot of times your mastics under the 12 by 12s come up asbestos. Ceiling tiles can sometimes, but
Counselor in seat 2, Counselor Kamara.
Thank you, Mr. Alvarez. My concern is this: was there asbestos along the floor that is airborne?
so there was in the basement. So that was the second inspection that I did. I actually went down there and I saw this white dust. To me, it's calcium. It's a calcium product. And because it was cut in the pipe. So if you cut a pipe, it was clogged in. So it was some type of a calcium product. I also saw a holding tank, a water holding tank in the back underneath the large holding water tank. That was cut at the pipe itself, not the asbestos. It was placed there. Those were the two potential that it could be. I walked a contractor in last week. I'm gonna be getting all that cleaned up to make sure that.
So there was asbestos on the ground all over the
I'm
place? Is airborne?
No, it's not airborne. No,
Well,
no,
just
that
that's
is a
what the question
different,
was.
no, that's not what happened. So when someone walks in, I took a picture of it. It looks like it's a white product. It looks like it's a calcium product that they insulate pipes.
Okay,
That was inside cut within the pipe.
I understand that. My
That-
question is very simple. It's not complicated, very simple.
Absolutely.
Just hold on one second.
Yeah.
Is there asbestos all over that floor that is airborne, that
No.
can be airborne by any wind?
Unless you
Thank
get in a leaf blower, then this could potentially be
Well,
something
then
there.
that's the same thing. Anyways, what about, is there, the Quickenham River flood the basement? Did you see any signs of the Quickenham River flooding the
So
basement?
I did talk, visually, it's not flooding the basement. There's a sump pump there. So there is a flow underneath that building. I asked the house captain how many times he's seen it. He said he's seen it once. I've witnessed it. I didn't witness it, but there was a flood prior to me coming on board in 2004. There is a pump. Once the pump fails, there could be a backflow into that. So that's the only concern that there was. I think Councilor Peckham mentioned that there was a grease trap backing up, and we repaired that, and that's in that situation.
I'll tell you, if that's the case, I don't think we should be fixing anything in that building. We should knock it down and build a new one. To have the Quickenham River flood that building, I mean, it just makes no sense.
I've been in numerous buildings, and I've managed numerous buildings with water flowing underneath
Oh,
that.
water
As
flow is
long
one
as-
thing, but to have the river flow through it, because when you get torrential 100-year storms, it's gonna cause major structural damage to that building. And we haven't had one in a while, so if it's flooding now and you haven't had a 100-year storm in a while, and once you get one, that building's gonna be, the basement's gonna be full of water from the Quicksand River. When that river starts to overflow, it's gonna cause havoc, especially in that building. With that, I yield.
Thank you, Counselor. In seat one, Counselor Kadim.
Thank you. So you said you went in there and you said it's not asbestos. Did we test to see if it was asbestos, or are you just saying, based on your visual inspection of it, that you're saying it's not asbestos?
Well, in that little small holding tank, there was in the corner underneath the hot water tank. That I believe is asbestos. So what I did the next day, I brought in a contractor. We're going to schedule a time with the fire department to make sure that we can go in there, clean that up. Even that white stuff, if it's calcium, if it's asbestos, we're gonna clean that up one way or another. That's what I would normally do if I was inspecting that building. The other thing we're gonna do is, there is asbestos in the main floor. It's been repaired once, but there's some openings, like microscopic openings. We're gonna have that repaired with what they normally call a wrap. So we're gonna make that building safe moving forward if there's any concerns. And the house, I walked it with the house captain. He was not concerned at all with any of those
So-
issues.
But I guess you would have an environmentalist come in or a hygienist, I should say, not environmentalist, a hygienist come in and look at this, right? Because even if you're gonna clean it up, you gotta know whether or not it's asbestos, because if it's asbestos, you gotta treat it differently, right? So even just the disposal piece. So I guess, why haven't we tested the white material that looks suspicious? To make a determination, one way or the other, it's asbestos, it's not asbestos. The accusation is that we have asbestos all over the floor. So, one, I think, obviously, we've got to clean it up. And then, again, as I mentioned, if it's asbestos, we've got to have it removed properly, right?
So the company that I brought in, that's what they do.
They test
And
it?
they didn't test it, but what I asked to do is the company that was testing this, I asked them to test it, they didn't test it. So the next day when I went in, I actually brought in a contractor just to do a vacuum and wash that down. It would be minimal. So I can still test it, but it's not gonna tell me anything that
No, but it would tell us whether or not we had firefighters in the basement that were kicking up
Okay,
asbestos and
I'll
things
have
like
that
that.
tested first thing in the morning, and I'll have it 24 hours, but to me, I was trying to be proactive with that.
No, listen,
Normally what I would have done.
I appreciate the proactiveness, and I guess I'm also just trying to make a determination whether or not it was asbestos, right, on the floor. And again, I don't, I mean, listen, I know the protocol is we can't just go vacuum and clean things up if it's asbestos, right?
It would
So
be a HEPA vacuum, yeah.
Right, so.
It would be, these were licensed contractors that do that. So, Counselor, normally that's what anyone would do as an inspector, just get it
But
cleaned up.
even I guess my concern is even the vacuuming, even if it's HEPA filters and all this other stuff, like you would have to, once you have to cordon off, right, you would have to cordon off the,
No one would-
plastics.
No one would be allowed, it's just what they call, it's a preventive maintenance that they call. It's short-term, DLI allows that to happen. They spray it with water, and then just HEPA vacuum and they wash it down, if that's what it was. I'm gonna sample that first thing in the morning, Counselor.
All right.
I really am. I don't believe it is, because it's within the pipe and it's calcium product, and it's,
It would make you feel a lot better if it wasn't asbestos and you can come back to the council and say it wasn't asbestos, everybody was just a little worked up about calcification as opposed to whether or not, I mean, listen, the media's already have it, like, I just think we need some type of response as to whether or not it was asbestos or isn't asbestos,
I'll
right?
get a
Just-
quick
just-
turnaround.
Just to put, that uncertainty to rest as to whether or not it is, and if we're rectifying it, that's fine. And then, obviously, as you're going through the windows, they test the caulking as well, and that there's no asbestos in the caulking?
I don't believe there's any caulking in that. It's just, it's within the frame. So,
Okay.
but once that gets into the design factor, they'll come back and
Okay.
inspect that.
All right, perfect. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor.
yield.
Counselor in seat three, Counselor Canuel.
Thank you. So you'll conduct a test of whether or not that's asbestos. The accusation was that it's airborne. Is there an air quality test, something that we could test the air to also? If we're going through the step of testing what's on the floor, something to check the air as well, put us all at ease?
I can get that tested as well. Again, so the proactive was to get it done, but I can get that tested with no problem.
Thank you. Thank you.
You yield?
Yes.
Counselor in seat 6, Counselor Peckham?
Mr. Oliveira, has there been any asbestos remediation done at all yet, like in the recent past?
No, since I've been here, so what anytime we have to interrupt that, we will have that taken care of. We'll have an asbestos company come on in, get it tested. But the last time we had anything at Central, it was that pipe that was an issue. They cleaned up that pipe, it was at the level. There was a major walkthrough, and I wasn't able to walk through. My maintenance manager told me the next day. We brought someone in and we corrected the issue.
So, and that was recently, correct, sometime?
Probably
past
last
few
year or
months?
the year before. It was,
Because I was told recently that at the end of last year, there was some pipes removed, one of them being up in the back south corner, second floor. There was a pipe removed that had some asbestos concerns, and then a pipe wrapped in the bathroom. There was some work done, because I was there last week and I saw that there was some wrapping, I believe you called it,
so
put
it's
on
a,
the
it's
pipe
a
in the
wrap.
bathroom.
Council, it was a preventive maintenance, and once that happens, that's what, that, you wrap it, it's like a cast. You put the water on it and you cast it, you mold it.
Now, who came in and did that?
That was a licensed contractor.
Okay.
ERS.
Okay, all right.
So the other one that you're probably looking at, it was an air cell, which is cardboard that has asbestos woven into it. They put a glove bag in there and they removed that because there was a concern that there was a potential for asbestos. And it was a crazy area that normally you wouldn't have asbestos in.
Okay.
But, so we weren't sure, we just had it done that way.
And the tiles on the second floor that are kicked up, because I've seen quite a few, and one of them's a leather floor, because they used leather back then. What about the subfloor under that, because that floor is extremely damaged?
So, Counselor, in the report, you'll find that that's what they call battleship linoleum. They have that in battleships, and it's like like a bag underneath that, like a woven bag underneath that. There's usually potential mastic beneath that. That was tested. The mastic and the product itself was negative.
Okay, I appreciate it. I yield, Council President.
Thank you. Just for our own edification, I can acknowledge my councilors who want to speak. The item is being referred to the Real Estate Subcommittee, but if we want to continue this conversation, that's okay. But I just want to remind us we're in full council, and we want to keep this full council meeting going. Councilor in seat 8, Councilor Reposo.
I'll yield.
Councilor in seat 1, Councilor Kadim.
I just, quick clarification, then we can discuss it in subcommittee. But you had just told me that you had a company come in to vacuum, and then Council Peckham asked you if there was any asbestos removed, that you had to get a licensed contractor to come out and take care of it. So, did we have a licensed individual come to vacuum, or?
No, there's been no vacuuming, Counselor.
Because we don't know if it's asbestos.
I had a plan to have the guy come on in, once we got a proposal from him, to come on in and clean that up, because there was a potential that it could be.
So,
And I thought,
the only thing I'm looking for an explanation, because again, not my area of expertise, but if you need you're required to have a licensed company to come in for any type of asbestos removal, why would you not need a licensed individual to come in and do asbestos cleanup?
it's the same company that we would use. We would not use anytime there's the word asbestos, you don't use any other company except someone who's licensed.
So the individual who came with the vacuum is a licensed asbestos?
No one came with a vacuum. I actually
But
walked
Mr.
them
Oliver,
through.
Just to be clear, Mr. Oliver, you indicated that to Councilor Peckham, that's
You're
why.
talking about two
Councilor-
different events, that's why.
No,
You're
no,
talking
I-
about before,
Just want to make it clear.
this is
So-
what.
No, I understand there's two different events, but the line of question that Council Peckham asked was there any asbestos removal? And then he said, yes, he had a licensed contractor who is licensed to do asbestos removal come in. And I was questioning the most recent one, which last week or whatever it was, so we're fast forwarding, I don't know how many years, to the present day, right? Where we have potentially white substance on the floor, and we were told that somebody came in with a HEP vac and just started vacuuming. And
Counsel, I actually brought the person in to walk through to give me a proposal. No one did any vacuuming, no one did any testing. The thought was is to get the contractor in to get a proposal. I would not, put it this way, if I walked someone through and they did that work, we would be breaking the law. They still need to get an
Right, so
authorization from the Department
That's
of
where
Labor.
I'm
Yes.
getting confused, because That's why I was asking you, did we tape up the
No.
doors? Because I assumed, well, I guess what I understood was that you had people come in and vacuum it up.
Absolutely not.
Okay, all right.
Absolutely not. Just a proposal to get that work done.
Understood, okay. That clarifies everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Council, for a clarification. Council in seat 4, Council Vice President Dion.
Yeah, just one question. I just want to make sure that I understood correctly. You said that the caulking on the windows tested negative for asbestos?
We didn't test any caulking. That wasn't part of the plan on that one yet so far.
So you have no reports at all on asbestos testing anywhere in that building?
We do. We have the report. The report with all the interior work right now, that's the only thing that was tested right now.
What was the only thing that was tested?
The only thing that was tested was any material, the wall plasters that I mentioned, the ceiling plasters, the ceiling tiles, the concrete baseboard, the concrete mastic, the floor tiles, the battleship linoleum, and then pipe insulation. There's an interior door that they tested the glazing on the interior door. So anything that, within the interior, there was no testing on the exterior or anything like that yet,
And those,
because that's not the
and
plan.
all of that list, that all come back negative or positive?
Everything came back negative with exception to the known asbestos piping.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you. I yield.
And for, again, just to be clear, to our colleague in seat 4's question, the testing that was done, that was at a prior event that hasn't been recent, and tomorrow you said you're gonna go downstairs with the house captain and start getting that white stuff tested that's in the basement, correct?
So yes, the one that I just mentioned was to get ready for the construction project.
Okay, all right, thank you. Anything further? Hearing none, there is a motion to refer the item to the Committee on Real Estate and Facilities that has been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Oliver.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk.
Item 6 is the Traffic Commission recommending amendments to the traffic ordinances.
Motion to refer the committee on
Second.
ordinances to.
Motion to refer the item to the Committee on Ordinances and Legislation has been made by Councilor Reposo, seconded by Councilor Peckham. Is there discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
The Committee on Real Estate, at a meeting held on January 20th, 2026, voted unanimously to recommend that the accompanying order be adopted, with Councilor Hart absent and not voting. This is the order for the sale of the site of the former Duval School, located at 112 Flint Street, to Contractors Lending LLC for $150,000.
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt the order has been
Second.
made by Councilor Reposo, seconded by Councilor Peckham. Is there discussion? Hearing none. All those, roll call. On adoption.
On adoption, Councilor Kadim,
Yes.
Kamara,
Yes.
Canuel,
Yes.
Dion,
Yes.
Hart.
Yes.
Peckham,
Yes.
Pereira, Reposo,
Yes.
President Ponti.
Yes.
Whereas the City of Fall River currently contracts with Easy Disposal for residential solid waste and recycling collection, and that contract is set to expire in the upcoming fiscal year. And whereas the City of Fall River historically provided residential solid waste and recycling collection in-house through municipal operations prior to the 2016 decision to privatize these services. And whereas the city is expected to seek external bids for a new solid waste collection contract with a multi-year term. And whereas the city council has a fiduciary responsibility to ensure that all major expenditures are evaluated in a transparent, data-driven manner to secure the best possible value for taxpayers. And whereas the only option currently under discussion is the solicitation of external bids, and the city has not publicly presented a recent comprehensive analysis of the cost to provide residential solid waste and recycling collection in-house. And whereas the cost of external bids is not known until proposals are received and market conditions, including labor, fuel, equipment, and disposal costs, have materially changed since the original privatization decision. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council hereby requests that the administration, in coordination with the Director of Financial Services, the Director of City Operations, and any relevant parties, prepare a full cost analysis of providing residential solid waste and recycling collection in-house. And be it further resolved that this analysis shall cover the same contract lengths being contemplated in the upcoming solicitation for external bids, include all associated costs included but not limited to staffing, equipment, acquisition or leasing vehicle replacement schedules, maintenance, fuel, benefits, insurance, administrative overhead, and long-term capital obligations. Clearly identify all assumptions used in the analysis. Be structured in a manner that allows for a direct comparison to external bid proposals when received. And be it further resolved that this cost analysis shall be formally presented to the Committee on Finance within 90 days of adoption of this resolution. And be it further resolved that the completed analysis shall be presented as a viable option for consideration by the City Council prior to any vote authorizing a new solid waste and recycling collection contract.
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt, and I don't think it's necessary to refer to the Committee on Finance because the resolution does that. So, motion to adopt has been made by Councilor Reposo. Is there a second?
Aye.
Seconded by Councilor Canuel. Discussion, the sponsor of the resolution, Councilor in seat 3, Councilor Canuel.
Thank you. I just filed this resolution because about a decade ago, under Mayor Jazel Correa, the city privatized the trash, and since then, I know we're still paying for the trucks, and right now, as far as I've seen, the only discussion item is an extension of external bids. And at this point, I just want to make sure that prior to us taking a vote for any potential contracts, that we have an apples-to-apples comparison of what that would cost to bring it in-house. I'm not saying that we have to do that. I'm not saying that's the best one. I think the numbers will speak for themselves, what the in-house cost would be versus the external bids. And I just want to make sure, especially for my colleague right next to me, Vice President Dion, that, you know, the council doesn't have their backs up against the wall without a choice when bids come in, that there could be another option on the table by having this potential analysis completed and what those are. You know, when I think about private companies, they are for-profit companies, and you know, I just want to see what those numbers line up to be side by side so that we can make the best decision. With that, I yield.
Thank you. I'm just curious, you mentioned paying for trucks. Which trucks did I hear you say we're paying for? The old trash trucks?
The old trash trucks, correct.
We're still paying for those? All right, we can certainly find out. I believe those trucks got auctioned under the Jazel Carrera administration.
The mayor made that comment to me the other day.
Okay, and I'm not calling you out on it, because if we're still paying for trucks, I'd like to know more about that. So, to your point, thank you, Councilor. Any further discussion? Council in seat 4, Council Vice President Dion?
I do know that, yes, there was a balance that we were still paying on. I don't know if we still are at this moment, but yes, that part is true.
Through our debt service?
I don't know.
It is.
Yeah.
It's, they didn't auction off enough money to pay the debt services.
Understood, we're still paying those, okay.
With that, I yield.
Thank you, Council in seat 1, Councilor Kadim.
Thank you. And I'm just going to say, I fully appreciate, and I'm professing my love to Counselor in seat 3. I'm not trying to beat him up. However, we just need to understand our role. And I know I sound like a broken record. We are a legislative body, right? So there is nothing wrong with asking for this information. However, the resolution is basically telling the administration to consider bringing in-house the services of trash that we just privatized, and we went through this entire analysis 10 years ago, 6 years ago, how many years it was, and not for nothing. Like that's up to the administration to make that determination. There is a lot that goes into this. You want to go back, I mean, there's workers' comp. I mean, there are people that we're still paying for just because of either deaths or loss of limbs or things of that nature when we had this service in-house. And I don't know of a community who has privatized trash and then decided to bring it back in because the liability and the cost associated with it, it's not a business we want to be in. So I don't mind the question of what the cost and the cost-benefit analysis that's done. I think those conversations should be had when a contract comes down before us to approve a contract for any type of future services, whether it be solid waste or even recycling. Even if this gets approved, to think, and listen, I'm the first one that beats up Miss Arpke when she's down here, but I'll also be the first one to say and try to protect her when, if we honestly think that this can get done in 90 days, amongst everything else that's getting done, this type of analysis doesn't happen in 90 days. There's absolutely no way, if you're looking for the right analysis. She's in the middle of putting together a capital plan. We need to do that. She's already started her FY27 budget outlook. That's not even completed. And then we're gonna start throwing in additional stuff where probably there was never any consideration to go in and bring these trucks back in. Then you gotta go get bids, or at least a cost estimate for what it would cost to get trash trucks in here, and then how many individuals you would have to be. Then you'd have to talk about whether or not the maintenance associated with it, the routes that are associated with it, how many people. You know, there's economies of a scale when you have a company who does this for other municipalities, right? They don't not held to the same standards that a municipality is. I just, there's a lot here, but I think we need to slow our roll a little bit. We are legislative, right? We can't dictate to the administration the direction we want to go in terms of how he provides, and I say he because Mayor Coogan, how the administration provides these services. I mean, we can start questioning some of the decisions when they come back down before us, but we have nothing before us to really discuss. I mean, if we want to talk about an ordinance, whether or not we want to stop, collection to businesses, then that's within our purview in our jurisdiction for ordinances. And again, and I appreciate the proactiveness of trying to get it, but again, we are legislative. We do appropriations, we do ordinances. We can't get involved in day-to-day operations, and this is clearly getting involved with day-to-day operations. And quite frankly, there's a lot here. This is a lot. This is a lot of work that goes in just to provide the documentation that's requested. And I know we only meet every 2 weeks, and I know the mindset of elected officials, like, okay, we meet for 2 weeks, we don't think about this stuff, we go back and we do our day-to-day business, and then we come back in 2 weeks and we think everything's gonna be done, right? And we don't understand or appreciate the day-to-day activities that take place in running a municipal government. There's no way that can be done in 90 days, not even close, even if we wanted to have it. Like, we're just setting people up for failure. So with that, I yield.
Thank you, Counselor in seat
Point of
eight.
clarification, can we bring Ms. Arpke to the table, waive the rules?
Is that a motion?
Yes.
Motion to waive the rules has been made by Counselor Canula. Is there a second? No second to the motion. Counselor in seat 8, Counselor Reposo.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, what is the timeline on the trash contracts right now? Do we know when they expire?
I don't know. What does it just say? June 30th of this year?
This year.
Yep,
Okay,
June
I
30th.
yield. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything further on the resolution? Hearing none, there is Counselor in seat 3, Counselor Canuel.
I just want to go back that the decision to privatize, we were promised an $8 million savings when that was done. I don't think I've ever seen an analysis that actually showed that we achieved that savings. Again, I'm concerned that this council's only option, if we don't have this type of analysis, will be the external bids, and we won't have a reference point as to whether or not that's a good deal. You could have one bidder for $1 billion, right? And we have no alternative on the table. Easy hired all of our laid off city workers when they took over. That was my understanding at least. We could easily, if we did not have a contract with Easy, go and look to hire those individuals back. I do fully appreciate that there are a lot of costs and things to consider. I do believe that Ms. Arpke has completed some type of analysis about 1.5 years ago, I think when Easy was threatening to walk away from their contract. I think they did that analysis through the end of the contract, as I understood it. So there are some basics in there, but obviously, if you're only going from 1.5 years out of what's remaining in the contract, the numbers are not gonna make sense. But if you put it over a 10-year, 12-year period, which is what this contract would likely be, I just don't know. There could be a significant savings. I think when we think about the things that will directly impact the taxpayers over the next decade, that one of the biggest ones is going to be this trash contract and how much that costs. And I'm not directing the administration telling them what to do, that this is the best deal. I think the numbers will speak for themselves. I just would like the numbers to be completed because I'm not convinced that this was a good decision a decade ago. I haven't seen the numbers to prove that. And with that, I yield.
Thank you. The motion on the floor has been.
Can I just, Mr.
Council,
President?
sorry, Council C1, Council Kadim.
So if my colleague hasn't seen the information to suggest that it's not working, what information does he have to say that it isn't working? Right, so it works both ways. So you either have information or you don't have information, but we've done the analysis 10 years ago, like we've already gone through it. The liability, again, there are reasons why there are communities leaving the industry. This is not a business we want to be in, nor should we be in. The cost savings alone, you don't need to have all the detail that's there, just liability exposure. The liability exposure alone for workers' comp, you go ask Corporation Counsel, the number of people we are carrying for the remainder of their lives that we've got to pay workers' comp because they've got lost a limb or there was a death associated with the trash collection. It is significant. That alone in itself would tell you that the liability for this job itself should be outsourced and not part of what we need to do. And if there's only one bidder that's bidding, that's what the market is driving. Like there are companies out there that are constantly. I just went out for Seekonk last year. We had 3 bids that came in. It's a smaller community. You know, when you're talking about the size of the city of Fall River, you're going to have more than 3 companies coming in to put a bid. Just the tonnage alone is going to drive it. Just the tonnage alone. I don't know. And when you say you're not directing it, you're directing them to complete an analysis, a full-scale analysis that they don't currently have. So I don't know how you could suggest that it's not a directing, right? Be it further resolved that this cost analysis shall be formally presented. So you told them to submit a cost analysis of benefit and that the complete analysis shall be presented to us. So you just directed them to do a complete analysis of, our trash program to bring it in-house.
This council asks for analysis of folks all the time.
Council C1.
Yeah, but we ask for analysis on trash, things that we're currently doing, right? We're not saying to go backwards and start redoing an entire analysis on, bringing trash in-house. Listen, I'm good to go. It's just not legislative. I would suggest, that folks really learn what the legislative body is responsible for. That's all I'm saying. We are walking such a blurred line, and I said this to the administration, I said it to you, Council President, like there is a lot that's going on. I mean, a lot. Like there are city councilors overstepping their responsibilities, and I don't know how the administration hasn't pushed back on it, and I've said it from day one. Listen, Ms. Arpke, I had a conversation with Ms. Arpke, you gotta stop pushing back. This is going awry, and it's going awry really quick, and you're not gonna be able to come back and push people back and into their direction. We are a legislative body. That's what we are. We took an oath to be a legislative body. I didn't run for mayor. I don't want to be mayor. I'm good with that, right? That's not what I want. So maybe there's 8 other councilors that want to be mayor. I don't. I'm here as a legislative body. I am here to do appropriation ordinances and have conversations and obviously, ask tough questions with regards to what is being presented to us, doing financial analysis. I'm good with that. But directing the administration in terms of a direction that they're going to go in, like you would never see that from a legislative body. I would ask you to go attend a town meeting in another community where the legislative body is the voters, where the voters are going and telling the administration what direction to go in. That's what the Board of Selectmen do. With that, I yield.
Thank you, Councilor in seat 2, Councilor McMara.
Thank you, Mr. President. So, 10 years ago, we made the switch. Why? Because the trucks were falling apart. He talks about liability, good point. Just the maintenance, just to keep up of the fleet that was old and antiquated. You know the quickest thing that goes in trash business is the trucks. You know how expensive those trucks are? Then you have to maintain them, and you gotta store them inside to make them last longer, or to keep them out in the street so they can get full of snow in a day like last weekend. It's just, they deteriorate so quick. You gotta get, there's so many issues that take place, as Councilman C1 said, when you're running a trash business. It's beyond anything the city can take care of. And it's just, we have a tough time taking care of a couple of Bobcats and a couple of lawnmowers, and it just gets no maintenance to those things, and they fall apart, and we can't maintain them, and we can't have people operating properly. It's just, it's difficult. But the fact that my colleague in C3, which I respect his resolution, you know, listen, if we can change the will, we will, and we'll help you do it, but some things like this, I just can't be a part of. But the fact that he said, we might get one bidder for $1 billion. Now, honestly, let's be fair, right? We're gonna get one bidder for $1 billion. Maybe that one bidder is gonna be like $2 billion, right? $3 billion, who knows what the bids are gonna come in? And if we get one bidder, as my colleague C1 said, that's what the market bids. There's only one person interested in doing it. A lot of companies, we've had it before, when we put it out to bid, they gave us different bids, different options, and we chose one and went with it. So I can't support this, therefore I'm out. With that, I yield. Thank you.
Council in seat 8, Councilor Reposo.
I guess my larger question, I'm sure there's some historical data that could be made available to the counselor regarding the days we did do trash in the city and give him some baseline of what you're thinking about. Maybe that would be a good start here, because we have that, I'm sure we have that financial information, because, you know, there's a lot of historical conversation going on here, but I'm sure some numbers from the past would probably help, and then obviously add inflation, what have you. So maybe if that's something that's available, it could be shared with Council Canuel. I yield.
Councilor in seat 1, Councilor Kadim.
Yeah, listen, just go back and do research. I mean, there's discussions that were had. Like, you can go watch the meetings 10 years ago. You can hear the presentations that were done. You know, we talk about the $8 million savings. You know why we didn't save $8 million? Because we were also supposed to lay off all the people that did trash, but we kept half of them. They are now currently working in community maintenance, right? So are we now suggesting that we're gonna take those individuals? I mean, is there anybody saying that community maintenance is not busy doing what they're supposed to be doing? I mean, because I would suggest that there are more complaints saying that they should be doing more, right? So knowing that, so the people that used to pick up trash are now doing something else. They're preoccupied with it. So we're gonna have to hire way more individuals, right? And so we only eliminated half of what we said we were gonna eliminate, because they said, well, you know what, we actually need these individuals to do other tasks. And they reassigned folks. So you didn't get the complete savings that you thought you were gonna get. That's just,
One of many.
yeah. I mean, we can go on all night, but with that, I yield.
Thank you. You're out. Councilor in seat 3, Councilor Canuel.
Yeah, I just want to remind my colleagues that this is just to get the numbers to make sure that we are making the best decision for the residents of Fall River. I think 10-year-old data is very outdated. I feel like this, you know, should be something that, you know, the administration should have already considered as this contract comes up upon us at the end of the fiscal year. And again, I'm just looking for the numbers on that and what they would be in today's dollars.
Thank you. You yield? Hearing no further discussion, motion to adopt has been made and seconded. Roll call.
On the motion to adopt the resolution, Councilors Kadim,
No.
Kamara,
No.
Canuel,
Yes.
Dion,
No.
Hart,
No.
Peckham,
No.
Pereira, Reposo,
No.
President Ponti.
No. Next order of business.
Whereas the City of Fall River, through its Community Development Agency, CDA, has worked diligently to secure and administer grant funding to support public safety, mental health, and addiction outreach services for vulnerable residents. And whereas the Fall River Addiction Support and Treatment FAST team currently operates on a federal Connect and Protect grant and plays a critical role in connecting individuals experiencing mental health crises, substance use disorders, and homelessness with appropriate services and supports. And whereas the city has been advised that several federal addiction and mental health grant programs have been reduced or eliminated, placing increased strain on local agencies attempting to maintain continuity of care and outreach services. And whereas CDA has made good faith efforts to identify and secure alternative grant funding to sustain the FAST team, but reports that maintaining this funding has become increasingly difficult. And whereas the potential loss or reduction of FAST team services would have a direct and negative impact on public safety, emergency response, and the well-being of residents most in need of assistance. And whereas the Commonwealth of Massachusetts has demonstrated a strong commitment to addressing mental health, substance abuse, and homelessness through state-level funding, partnerships, and legislative initiatives. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council formally requests assistance from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to help identify potential funding sources to sustain the FAST team and related mental health and addiction outreach services. And be it further resolved that the City Council send a letter to Senator Michael J. Rodriguez, Chairman of the Senate Committee on Ways and Means, requesting guidance and consideration of state funding options or bridge funding to support these essential services. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to the Mayor, the Director of Financial Services, the Executive Director of the CDA, and the Fall River State Legislative Delegation for their awareness and support.
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt has been made by Counselor Reposo, seconded by Counselor Canuel, the sponsor of the resolution. Counselor in seat 3, Counselor Canuel.
Thank you. I offered this resolution because we are seeing significant challenges from a federal level with cuts, and I really would like to see the state step up, particularly with our chairman, Senator Michael Rodriguez, who's in a very good position to potentially help us find ways to fund this. So I understand sometimes the answer is no, but I also know that if you don't ask, the answer is always no. So with that, I yield.
I agree with you. Motion to adopt has been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Counselor, did you want to speak?
Negative.
Sorry, I didn't see that. Motion to adopt has been made by Counselor Reposo, seconded by Counselor Canuel. Hearing no further discussions. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Item 10 is a citation for 911 emergency dispatchers, AFSCME Council 93 Local 3177, for their service to the City of Fall River on the night of July 13th, 2025, during the Gabriel House Assisted Living Residence Fire.
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt the citation has been made by Counselor Canuel, seconded by Counselor Reposo. Is there discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
The next item is an order from the Massachusetts Electric Company, DBA National Grid, for one new pole location on Miller Street.
Motion to adopt.
Motion
Second.
to adopt has been made by Counselor Reposo, seconded by Counselor Peckham. Is there discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Item 12 is an order for an underground conduit, also from National Grid, to install underground facilities on Pleasant Street.
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt has been made by Counselor Peckham, seconded by Counselor Hart. Is there discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Item 13 is the renewal of an auto repair shop license for Richard R. Torres, DBA Empire Hyundai.
Motion
Inc.,
to adopt.
located at 428
Second.
Pleasant Street.
Motion to adopt has been made by Counselor Peckham, seconded by Counselor Reposo. Is there discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Item 14 is the police chief's report on licenses.
Motion to adopt.
Motion
Second.
to adopt the police chief's report has been made by Counselor Reposo, seconded by Counselor Peckham. Is there discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Item 15 is an order from Fall River Taxi Service, Inc. for new taxi cab vehicle applications, license number 6, 11, and 16.
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt has been made by Counselor Reposo,
Second.
seconded by Counselor Peckham. Is there discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Item 16 is a number of claims.
Motion to refer to Corporation Council.
Motion to refer the claims to Corporation Council has been made by Counselor Peckham, seconded by Counselor Reposo. Is there discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Item 17 are zoning board of appeals minutes for the December 18th, 2025
Motion
meeting.
to accept, place on file.
Second.
Motion to accept the zoning board of appeals minutes and place it on file has been made by Counselor Reposo, seconded by Counselor Peckham. Is there discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Motion to take items 18 through 23 together.
Motion to take items 18 through 23 city council minutes has been made by
Second.
Counselor Reposo, seconded by Council Vice President Dion. Is there discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Could you
Opposed?
read 18 to 23,
She's going
please?
to. This motion to take them together has been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Madam Clerk, read for the approval. Motion?
City council minutes for the public hearings held on December 23rd, 2025. Committee on Finance held on the same day, and Committee on Finance held January 13th, 2026. We also have regular meeting of the city council minutes for December 23rd, 2025, and meeting of the city council and organization of city government held on January 5th, 2026. And lastly, regular meeting of the city council minutes for meeting held on January 13th, 2026.
Motion to adopt.
Motion to approve has been made by Counselor Reposo, seconded by Counselor Peckham. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
The Committee on Ordinances and Legislation, at a meeting held on January 27, 2026, voted unanimously to recommend that the accompanying proposed ordinance be passed through first reading with Council Pereira absent and not voting. This is the proposed ordinance for the City Council Committee title changes.
Motion to pass through first reading.
Motion to pass the item through first reading has been made by Counselor Peckham.
Second.
Seconded by Counselor Canuel. Is there discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Motion to adjourn?
And one more item, if I could. The Committee on Finance, at a meeting held on January 27, 2026, voted unanimously to recommend that the accompanying resolution be referred to the full council for action, with Council Pereira absent and not voting. This is the resolution for the Pearl Street and Third Street parking garages.
Motion, that's the motion, Madam Clerk, to be clear, to refer that item to the Committee on Real Estate and Facilities.
The
That-
motion was to refer to full council, but you can
That would
certainly
be
do that now.
that would be the appropriate motion.
Motion so made.
Motion to refer to the Real Estate and Facilities
Second.
Committee has been made by Counselor Reposo, seconded by Counselor Peckham. Discussion on the referral. Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Motion
That's
to
all we have,
adjourn.
Mr. President.
Motion to adjourn has been made by
Second.
Counselor Reposo, seconded by Counselor Hart. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Good night. Thank you all.